Hi friends, welcome back to my channel where today I'm playing for the first time with this palette from BH Cosmetics. This is Summer and Sun Tropez. It was a gift from a subscriber and I've never dipped into it before. So if you want to see how I did this eyeshadow look using this palette, don't go anywhere. If you are new here, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I really love to play with colorful things and eyeshadow is one of my favorite ways of creatively expressing myself. So I upload multiple videos every week. It is all eyeshadow related content. Lots of tutorials, tags, try to get ready with me's, question and answers. If you are interested in that sort of thing and you like my personality and the way I do my eyeshadow, please consider subscribing before you leave so you don't miss new uploads. Now let's get going with this eyeshadow look. So in today's video, I want to play with the Summer and Sun Tropez palette from BH Cosmetics. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This was a gift from a subscriber and it is brand new. None of the shades have been touched and you can see there's still even a sticker on the mirror. I was trying to look at this palette ahead of time and decide what colors I wanted to play with, and I'm just not sure. I don't know. Somebody had commented that these two shades are actually more like duochromes and are really very pretty, so I might use one or both of those in today's look just to mess around with them because I've never touched this palette. It reminds me of ColourPop's Cabana Club palette, which I've almost bought a couple of times, and I think that this one's going to scratch that itch, but I don't know where to start. So I'm just going to prime my eyes and figure out at least the first color I will use. Once it's laid down on my lid, that might help me go, okay, well, here's my starting point. Now where do I go? As opposed to trying to plot out the look ahead of time. This is the Glam Light Icing Primer in the shade White Frosting. I really like the Glam Light Primer. When I started using Beauty Bay, I found that I had a lot of creasing issues immediately. Like the shimmers would crease on me because they were a thicker, more emollient formula, but the mattes would even crease on me. But then I tried the Glam Light Icing Primer and all of my creasing issues in every brand across the board and every formula went away. So a good primer will make such a huge difference in your eyeshadow application and also longevity. It's just a matter of laying down a solid base and going from there. Now, what I like about the Glam Light Primer, aside from its performance, is that it comes in many different shade options. So, like I said, this is the White Frosting shade, and while this does clearly change the color of my skin in the eye area, it looks like I'm wearing a very light whitish sort of mask. By the time I've laid down all my shadows and made sure I blended out the primer, you can see I'm sort of buffing it into the skin around my eyes. But by the time I'm done laying down my shadows, the only thing of primer that you might see would be a slight bit underneath of the eyebrows, and that could act as a highlight. So it doesn't bother me that it's definitely lighter than my skin tone. I actually prefer it because it gives a lighter base or foundation for the shadows to really pop. Okay, I'm going to start in the outer corner with a dense blending brush and grabbing the shade Pampelone. This is the lighter of the two blue mattes, and I'm going to place this in my outer corner and my crease. Now, I will be honest with you guys, I just spent 10 minutes starting this look and failing miserably because what I did was I started in the outer corner with the darker of the two blue mattes. Then I used the light blue to blend it out and it was a disaster. It was awful. I think part of the problem was the undertones of the shades, and then whatever I was using to try to salvage the inner corner when I made it too dark was then turning green and making it look like my eye was just one big bruise. Bad news bears. I tried to salvage it and it was not happening. So I'm not gonna let the colors scare me. What I'm doing is I'm changing my tactic. So now I'm placing the light blue all through the outer corner and crease. And honestly, this is a beautiful blue. Just, I didn't put it in the right spot to begin with. Now I'm gonna take a smaller blending brush and go into the shade Bay, which is the darker of the two blues. And I'm gonna deepen the outer corner only. Lately, I've been doing the opposite technique where I start darkest shade and I buff it out from there. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. If I had chosen different colors from this palette, that might have been a perfectly fine technique. But because of the colors that I picked and the placement of them on my eye, it was not working. This is going much better. This is going much better. I'll tell you what, if I can edit the bad footage down to something that's a little bit more manageable, I'll put it at the end of this video and you can see the struggle that I was having. And now I'm using the exact same two colors with a beautiful result. So undertones do matter. They are significant and they absolutely can affect the way that colors look on your skin. So it's really helpful to know what your undertones are And I had a subscriber ask me about that, and I said, well, if you look at the veins in your wrist, if they look like they have sort of a green hint to them, then you have yellowy undertones. And if they look like they have a blue or purple hint to them, then you have blue undertones. I have blue undertones. My sister has yellow undertones. So it's important and helpful to know what your skin undertones are, but it's not the end of the world. You can probably still take colors that maybe wouldn't always be the best for you and make them work in makeup if you apply them correctly. So this is orders of magnitude better than my previous attempt. I want to play with two of the shimmers in this palette. I think I said this in the part of the video that's being cut out. I had a subscriber say that these two shimmers were really, really beautiful, maybe duochromes. And so I might want to play with both of them. We're gonna see how they look on the eye. Maybe one will just be enough. So I'm gonna take a flat brush and dip into the shade Exotic. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's sort of a brown gold green sort of shade. I also said in the failed part of this video that, well, let me spray my brush. Sorry, I'm taking this Exotic shade and putting it, starting my inner corner. Oh, that's pretty, to see what color it is. I also said in the failed part of this video that I don't know which formula of BH Cosmetics this is. I believe it's the formula that was released right before their best formula, because this is part of the travel series and they re-released the travel palettes with new packaging, and this is the old packaging. I'm expecting that this is going to be BH Cosmetics' second best formula, but it is performing really nicely. I can't complain about it. I'm getting good color payoff, it's building nicely, and the mattes have blended well. I'm going back into the dense brush that I used for my mattes. No new product, I'm just tapping where the shimmer meets the matte and up into the crease here a little bit, just to help the formulas work together a little more smoothly. For the lower lash line, I think I want to go into the pinks. I think I'm going to start in the shade Villa with a small blending brush, and I'll put this at my inner corner of the lower lash line. I think I'm going to do a three-tone pinky purple sort of thing. So I'll put this in the inner corner. Oh, this is actually a nice peach. Okay, that's pretty. Then I'll take the same brush and go into Sizzle, which is the hot pink. It's a matte with sparkle. And I'll put this on the rest of the lower lash line using this brush. And then I'll take a smudger brush and grab the shade Cabana. Ooh, I think I'll mix Cabana and Nightlife just for kicks. Back and forth into the two shades. And I'm going to put this in the lashes, like right in the outer corner. This would be a pretty look to do a glitter liner, which I don't have. That's pretty. And finally, for an inner corner highlight, I'm taking a very small and pinched blending brush and picking up the shade Intoxicating, which is a sunshiny yellow matte. And I'll place this right here. That's nice. I love a matte inner corner highlight. I think it actually brings more brightness than a sparkle. Like a sparkle inner corner, what it's bringing besides the color is the sparkle. And that's very eye-catching and very lovely. But a matte inner corner, if you use a really light-toned matte, white or blue or yellow, something that's very light-toned, pink, a pastel matte inner corner highlight, what that brings is this level of brightness in the center of the face. And it kind of makes your face seem a little bit more spread out because you'll have light versus any depth at all in the outer corner. Now, I like a lot of depth, but even if you have just a little bit of shadow out here with a lighter matte inner corner, it's gonna widen your face a little bit. So for most face shapes and sizes, that's a good thing. Some people already have wide set eyes and that might not be their goal, but most people are gonna want a little bit of brightness in this inner corner. And a pastel matte inner corner highlight brings that level of brightness. It sort of opens up the face in a very interesting way. I had a subscriber ask me about the waterline and what the difference was between the waterline and the lash line and things like that. So I just wanted to clarify for you, Zelda. This is this is a ColourPop Creme Gel Liner. This one happens to be the shade Big Splash, but I want to show you the waterline itself. I had told you in a comment that if your eyes are brimming with tears and they're about to spill out, the waterline is the rim of the eyelid that's keeping the tears against your eyeball. So it's actually, I'll zoom in here so that you can see. It's actually this part of the eye right here. You see where the pink shadow ends, and then there's this section of skin and then the eyeball itself. That's the waterline. So you have an upper and a lower waterline. When you tightline the waterline, you put a liner on that rim of skin, and it adds in an element of color. I'm going to put this liner on the inner corner. And then I'm going to choose a different color because this one is not showing up great against the pink. I'll grab this one. It's called Fluffy. Also ColourPop. Anyway, you're putting color on that ridge of skin. And it won't stay forever because when your eyes blink, that's the part of your eyelids that meet with each other. It's that little rim of skin. Your upper and lower waterline tap against each other each time you blink. So when you're tightlining your waterline, that color probably won't stay all day, but you know, we put it on the beginning of the eye look and go from there. Anyway, you can also line the upper waterline. I usually don't because I find that when I line the upper waterline, it makes my eyes water and then I get bleeding from the shadows and stuff. If I'm doing a smoky eye, I will line the upper waterline, which I guess I can show you. Let's see, I've got dark blue up here, so let me grab a dark blue liner. Here's a dark blue liner. I'll put this in the description box below. Anyway, to line the upper waterline, it's the same concept, except instead of pulling down to expose the waterline, you don't really need to do anything really. You can, if you want, you can lift up your lashes or something, but if you've already got shadow placed there, you're just gonna mess it up. So I just extend the liner and then I push it against the edge of the shadows, right up against the eye. All you're doing is adding a little bit of color to the upper waterline. The reason I do that for a smoky eye is because a smoky eye is really deep and dark and smoky, obviously. What it does is it covers the space between the lashes and the shadow. So if you've got really dark colors on and you want to conceal that naked skin, depending on your skin tone, like I have a lighter skin tone, but you have a darker skin tone. I'm talking to my subscriber, Zelda. Zelda, you have a darker skin tone, so it might not even be necessary for you because your lashes and your skin tone might be close enough that any dark shadows that you've placed all work together. But for me, if I place dark shadows, there's this line of lighter colored skin. So lining the waterline kind of helps to conceal that line or cover it or whatever. Anyway, I hope that was helpful to you. Now I'm gonna go off camera and finish this look. Okay guys, here's how the look turned out. I did a black winged eyeliner and then some mascara. On my face, I'm wearing a little bit of this Milani blush in the shade 901 Luminoso. It's a beautiful peachy tone. And I have a tiny bit of highlighter from the BH Cosmetics Frosé palette. And then on my lips, I'm wearing this Showering Sunset shade from Burt's Bees Tinted Lip Oil and just a dab or two of the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Peaches and Cream to add a tiny bit of color, but not much. That's the whole look. I do think it's really pretty. And you know, it's funny because, again, at the end of this video, I will put the bad footage of me trying this palette for the very first time. It's funny because when I put those shades on and I had the result I was having, I was really frustrated and I was thinking, maybe this palette's just not a good fit for me. But then when I changed the way I was applying it, it made a big difference, really. And this is maybe not the most unique eye look I've ever done because these tend to be colors I use. I wasn't expecting this exotic shade to be quite as green, so this look turned out a lot more blue-green than I was expecting. I thought it'd be more yellow-green, but anyway, it is pretty, and I do like all of the pink options on the lower lash line. I think that they turned out quite pretty. Now I want to play with the palette and dip into the pink and neutral tones. Anyway, I think the look is nice. I will keep the palette and play with it more, and I'm very grateful to my subscriber for kindly gifting it to me. I appreciate you guys also for being here and for hanging out. I hope you like the look. Remember to follow, like, and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys again very soon in my next video. Bye! I'm starting with a dense blending brush. This is an e.l.f. crease brush, and I'm going to place this in my outer corner. Grab this lighter blue matte. It's called Pampelon, and I'm going to put this on the edge of this beige shade and soften the, just soften the color a little bit, buff it out. And I think I'll take that shade as well, just with the same brush, and place it in my inner corner. Just dipping sand on the edge of this blue, hoping to soften or buff it a little bit. No, it's making it green. Shoot. This is not going well. So I've just taken the brush that I use for applying the primer. No primer on it except for whatever's there, and I'm literally like pushing it into the space that I'm not happy with. Reapplying primer. The shades are pretty, but I don't know if you can see, it's just looking more and more like a bruise. No, this is going badly. I think I just need to wipe it all off. Cancel, abort, abort.